Thomas Shelby, the mastermind behind the Peaky Blinders, didn't just rise to power through brute force. No, his true weapon was his intellect, his keen ability to understand power dynamics. One of the key laws that Thomas Shelby mastered is Law 1 of the 48 Laws of Power: never outshine the master. Tommy knew when to hold back, when to flatter, and when to strike. But to truly appreciate this, we need to take a closer look at his interactions throughout the series. Let's explore how Tommy Shelby strategically embodied this law, positioning himself as the ultimate puppeteer. Law 1 of the 48 Laws of Power states, never outshine the master. In simple terms, this law emphasizes that when you serve someone in power, never make them feel inferior or insecure. Your goal is to appear competent, but never to the point that you make your superiors feel threatened. Over the course of Peaky Blinders, we watch as Tommy applies this law masterfully, maneuvering his way through the ranks, all while making those above him believe they are in control. Let's start with Tommy's interaction with Winston Churchill. Here, Churchill represents the ultimate authority, someone who holds the power of the state. Now, Tommy could have tried to position himself as Churchill's equal, but instead, he plays it smart. He chooses to act like the loyal servant, giving Churchill the information he needs, while subtly positioning himself as an indispensable ally. This is a critical moment. Tommy offers Churchill value. He becomes useful without overstepping. Churchill is comfortable with Tommy because Tommy lets him feel like the master. In doing so, Tommy secures a long-term strategic advantage. By the end of this interaction, Churchill views Tommy not as a threat, but as an asset. Tommy gains an ally without showing his hand, laying the groundwork for future power moves. This relationship between the two is a perfect example of how Tommy navigates power dynamics, carefully, with patience and precision. Now let's dive into Tommy's early days. When Billy Kimber controlled the racetracks, he was the master of the game, and Thomas knew that confronting Kimber directly would be a mistake. So what does Tommy do? He lets Kimber believe that he's in control, even though Tommy has his own ambitions. He doesn't reveal them too early. Notice the subtlety here. Thomas doesn't challenge Kimber directly. Instead, he feeds Kimber's ego, making him feel like the king of Birmingham. This is a classic execution of Law 1. Tommy lets Kimber bask in his superiority, all while carefully planning his next move. But what's crucial here is that Thomas doesn't bow forever. He understands that letting someone feel too secure for too long can be dangerous. So, he sets the stage for Kimber's downfall, waiting for the right moment to strike, when Kimber least expects it. While Kimber is busy believing he's won, Tommy is working in the shadows. He builds alliances, expands his influence, and quietly undermines Kimber's power. This is key to understanding how Thomas applies Law 1. Tommy knows that you can never directly challenge a master without first weakening their foundations. Thomas doesn't let Kimber feel threatened. Not yet. Instead, he plays a long game, gathering intelligence, building networks, and creating alternative revenue streams. By the time Kimber even begins to suspect a challenge, it's too late. It's all part of the strategy. Thomas Shelby doesn't outshine the master. He lets the master destroy himself while quietly preparing for his rise. When the moment comes, Tommy strikes swiftly and decisively. Kimber, who thought he was in control, suddenly finds himself surrounded, outmaneuvered, and it's here we see the brilliance of Law 1. Tommy has been biding his time, playing the subordinate, but now he reveals his true power. By letting Kimber feel superior, Tommy lulled him into a false sense of security. And when Kimber finally realized the threat, Tommy had already taken everything. It's a textbook execution of Law 1. You don't need to outshine the master right away. You wait until they can't stop you. What sets Thomas Shelby apart is his understanding of timing. He doesn't rush. Throughout the series, we see him use patience as a weapon. Law 1 teaches that outshining too early leads to disaster. Tommy's brilliance lies in how he holds back when he's in the presence of people more powerful than him. Be it Churchill, Kimber, or even his rival gangs, Tommy uses humility as a strategic tool. Tommy is willing to defer, to let others think they're superior, but only until he's ready. This constant humility isn't weakness, it's calculated restraint. By the time his enemies realize they've underestimated him, he's already in control. Never outshine the master until you've secured your position. Thomas Shelby follows this to the letter. The beauty of Law 1 is its subtlety. You don't have to overthrow those in power immediately. You can defer to them, making them feel safe, all while consolidating your strength. Thomas Shelby mastered this. He didn't come out guns blazing. He waited, and when the time was right, he dismantled his enemies piece by piece. By the time you see me coming, it'll already be too late. With every move, Tommy showed us that true power isn't in overt displays. It's in playing the long game. Let those above you shine for now, because when the time comes, you'll be the one holding all the cards. So what can we learn from Thomas Shelby's application of Law 1? First, always assess the power dynamics around you. If you're in a subordinate position, don't rush to show off your talents. Let those above you feel secure. Flatter their egos, play to their strengths, and make them believe they're in control. Secondly, be patient. True power doesn't come overnight. Thomas knew this. He waited, allowing his enemies to underestimate him, letting them grow comfortable. And finally, when the time was right, he struck. Thomas Shelby's rise to power in Peaky Blinders is a masterclass in patience, strategy, and understanding human nature. Law 1. Never outshine the master is more than just about humility. It's about timing, about knowing when to step back and when to take control. And Thomas Shelby, he played the game better than anyone.